basically what I want to document here is the parasitic nature of the system. The system is parasitic today. And the other thing is, it's based on authoritarianism and the entire like cult of commerce and the system of commerce, corporations, business, whatever it is. It's based on authoritarian control and money, right? So the entire system of commerce is based on these things. Now, it's all backed up by the legal system. It's backed up by sometimes these like unconscious biases and consensus thought that we just accept the way things are. So today I'm going to bully the bullies, and that is American Airlines decided to mess with my flight. No big deal. I booked another flight, no problem. But the reality is that they have this strange authoritarian control. They leverage the federal government. They leverage our tax dollars to bully people, right? Like I've seen people get kicked off a plane for like not putting their bag in the overhead compartment properly. Like it's just totally unacceptable behavior. We've seen all sorts of things recently in the media where the airplanes are literally falling apart as they're flying out of the sky. Like these airlines are out of control. And they have no accountability. So because this happened, and I have a personal fee schedule posted on my personal website, I'm basically just going to be sending them an invoice with an administrative fee. So I'm going to be writing up an invoice due immediately and sending it to customer service at American Airlines. And if you guys think about it, they have no accountability to anybody. They don't think about anyone but themselves, and then they have absolutely no courtesy towards the public, and yet they're a public company. So if a public company has zero accountability to the public, they exploit whatever this is. I don't know if it's loud or not, but I'm just going to let this finish. They exploit the system, they exploit the resources, they exploit the entire infrastructure of our government, of our system. They exploit it so that they can exploit you for your money. And that's the way that the commerce system works. The entire system of commerce is it should be based on exchange, but there are many companies that base it on exploitation. It's the exploitation of workers, it's the exploitation of resources, it's the exploitation of labor, and so on and so forth, right? So if you don't stand up for yourself in the game of commerce, you'll never win at money, because money is just an extension of the game of commerce. But today, I've had enough, and I feel like it's time to start leveraging my knowledge for myself, but then also you guys can understand this. If you sit on hold to try and talk to customer service with a company that you pay a service for, and you spend 2 hours of your time, well, it shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't sit for 2 hours. At least for me, my 2 hours is extremely valuable. And I have a $250 an hour price minimum on my hours, right? Some people it's higher, some people it's less, whatever. The point is that they have some accountability. Now, unless you hold them accountable to it, there's nothing you can do. But that's what we're doing. I'm going to be invoicing American Airlines for this administrative fee because I had to take time to go change my schedule around, fix the flight, book a new flight, pay for a new flight. And this is just one example of millions when you're dealing with these corporations, right? Because they're soulless machines that just operate in this world of commerce and have no common sense, no competency, and they are completely soulless and they don't care about people. And yet, here they are. These corporations, these companies should exist for the benefit of people, for the benefit of the customers, but they truly don't care. So the only way to hold these types of companies accountable, now I'm not saying every company operates this way. There's a lot of really good companies that have good policies, that take care of their customers, that treat people with respect. But there are a very large portion of companies, and especially talking about the airlines, who they have some sort of like power trip, like chip on their shoulder, like they're they're here to save humanity, because if Karen doesn't put her purse in the overhead compartment at the right point of time, like we're all going to die on this airplane, which is utterly ridiculous. And of course, yes, there are safety precautions and things like that come up, but 90% of the time, it's like some stupid person saying something stupid or doing something stupid that gets them kicked off a plane or does something, I don't know. So it's just weird to me, right? That they're exploiting our tax dollar resources, and they're exploiting their customers, and they do it mercilessly. It is merciless. So that's one thing you can do. If you're playing the game of commerce, realize that it goes both ways. Right? You can have policy in commerce the same way that a company can have policy in commerce, because you are essentially a company. And the truth of the matter is that actually a company is a person, right? You guys remember that? Mitt Romney saying corporations are people. Well, that's because a corporation is a person. A corporation is like an entity. It's known as like a person. And you as a person, your straw man is a person. Like, you have a living soul, a living being, but you also have a person, which is like your legal fiction that's represented in the world of commerce. And so like, it's really important to understand that this legal fiction exists, right? It is a legal fiction. Just like if I were to talk to a representative of the company of say American Airlines, right? They're just a person representing a legal fiction. And that legal fiction has authority to do things and operate in licenses and systems and processes and things like that they use to extort or extract revenue. I wouldn't say extort, it's not extortion, it's extraction. They extract revenue from commerce because it's legal. In some cases, maybe there's questionable practices with all sorts of companies. But in this case, it's important to understand how commerce works, how commerce impacts your life, and why thinking this way is important, because everything you do in the world has legal implications. Everything's documented. Everything exists in this world of legal fiction. There's like documentation, right? There's documentation that I had the flight. There's documentation that I didn't make the flight. There's documentation that I bought another flight. These things all exist in this legal fiction world, and this is the world of commerce. This is the world that the money lives in. The money doesn't live in the flesh and blood spirit world, right? The world of the human soul or the spirit. Even though we can touch it, use it, access it, etc., it works in that legal fiction world of commerce. So, if you feel like you're being unfairly taken advantage of by anyone in this game, because that's what it is, it's a game. Commerce is a game, business is a game, life is a game, everything's a game. Especially for these big companies, like you're a pawn in their game, because you paid $200 for a ticket or something like that. Like, you're just a pawn, right? They don't care. They have billions of dollars in public funds that they get from investors. So if you think about how the whole system works, you have just as much right in the game to extract revenue from other players in the game. Now, for me, when I come up to a company or a person or a system, let's call it a system, because the people are part of a company and it's all part of a system, and they're all unconscious. It's an unconscious bias where they're just operating this unconscious machine in commerce. When I come up against that, then it's very easy for me to just look at the situation and say, okay, I'm no longer going to be the pawn. I'm going to make them the pawn. So in this case, I'm going to play a little game. I'm going to send them an invoice. I'm going to invoice them for my administrative fees, because my time and effort and look, here's the thing. They can't say that they don't owe it, because if I'm compelled to do anything as a result of their actions, they have to compensate me. It's law, because slavery's been outlawed. There's laws against it, right? You cannot compel somebody to perform an action or a duty against their will without compensating them. So it happens all the time, but most people don't take the time to go and, okay, request compensation. So now, in this instance, I'll go request compensation by explaining to them, hey, this is the administrative fee. You guys caused me to, this isn't free. This game isn't free, right? So that's part of the game, and that's how I look at it. And, you guys should start doing this as well. Like, think about the companies that render a service and they have horrible customer service, they make you wait hours or whatever it is, like, invoice them, send them an invoice. Let's see what happens. Why not?